Mental health recovery does exist, and we all can be successful in life despite the stigma that's out there.
My dream is that one day the stigma will be totally erased.
Depression or anxiety, that's like life. It doesn't mean you have a bad brain, right?
Mental illness does not discriminate.
We are not scary people.
We're just like you.
You're not alone. There's always help available.
You don't need to go through this by yourself.
We have the greatest hospital in the greatest city, in the greatest country, at the richest time in the history of the world. And yet, sitting across from us, you have a population that lives so fewer years than the non-mentally ill.
Wait.
We do such a bad job for people with severe mental illness in this country that the survival rate is 30 years less, 30 years less than for people without severe mental illness. And they're right in front of us, and you're walking past these people every day. When you think about that, you feel like, all right, we got to do something about that.
I heard about him first from colleagues. You know, we're worried about this person, he won't go see psychiatry, he got hospitalized repeatedly, medically and psychiatrically. And they're kind of like, would you see him? And I will tell you the truth, that I thought this would be a challenging case.
Jonathan was having chemotherapy as an outpatient, and we were just sitting there in the room, and all of a sudden, this very nice person came along.
Here he was at home in pain, suffering, confused, and paranoid. Why would he come to an additional doctor's appointment that he didn't think he needed? So instead, I went down to infusion.
I told him that I had a good feeling about her, and I said, let's give her a chance.
I said, I don't need you, but I did come back the next week, and then a week after that, and then eventually he did come up to my office to see me. But Jonathan inspired creating a whole dedicated program.
Jonathan was lucky because his mom and dad loved him and advocated for him at every step. And he was lucky that he met Kelly. What we need to do is not make it about luck anymore. That we've set up this system that can be replicated in New York or Detroit or LA or in the middle of Iowa. But it's a system that people say, we need to have at our place, because when somebody with severe mental illness comes in the door, that's the right thing to do for them.
Jonathan and his family really showed me how important it was to do things differently, and how much we could do as a community at MGH if we worked together and didn't start with like, well, that's not my job, you know, and started instead with, this is what this person needs and his family needs, and let's try it.
She was able to help him with the medications so that his mind was clear to the very end. He could talk to us and we could understand him. He could say goodbye to all of us.
You know, the thing that sticks with me also as a parent, his mom said to me, finally, I could stop being his caregiver and be his mom.
When I have a young person like Kelly come to me and say, hey Dave, I have an idea. I'm too old to come up with ideas on my own, but I know a good one when I see one. We thought it was going to take her 18 months to enroll in this particular study, and she had filled the enrollment in 3 months. The outpouring of support from the cancer community, the medical oncologists, the surgeons, the radiation oncologists who would call Kelly and say, hey, I have a patient for you. And people want to do the right thing. They want to help. They want to change the way we take care of people with mental illness. We just needed somebody like Kelly to bring everybody together and make it happen.
I think it's rough for anybody, and to be able to see Dr. Irwin, it just enabled me to be the strongest I could be mentally to get through the experience. Because if I had ended up having to have hospitalization in the middle of cancer treatment, you know, that would not have been good.
That's right. You've been through a heck of a lot of stuff. Yeah. You've been dealing with depression for years.
It's all about meeting an individual patient where they're at in their illness, and it's doing it for a population that is the most underserved in our society.
Also, I remember, understandably, that the idea of surgery was scary.
Yeah.
And that was something that did keep you up at night.
I have an incident that happened to me when I was a little kid. I was stuck in a snow cave and I couldn't get out. I was there for a long time. I don't know how long I was there. And panic set in. Loss of control, you're trapped. And so
it's okay. What I remember though is like meeting you in infusion.
Yeah.
And I remember you told me that story about the snow cave.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure that everybody would have made the same connections to that story and how that related to your life.
Yes.
That were really important to make.
You know, we wouldn't ask somebody who was a paraplegic to walk up a flight of stairs. Why are we asking somebody with severe mental illness to show up at 8:30 in the morning every Tuesday on the button for a 20-minute appointment?
And your team called me and they said, I don't know what we're going to do. He's not going to do this.
I yelled a lot.
You did yell a fair amount. There was some yelling. That piece is really rewarding to see the kind of when people like realize like, hey, that worked. We can do this again. I think that's really happened. The culture has changed. And these are people who really just didn't think about mental illness before.
For Kelly to do this and make these patients seen, again, it brings the chasm between the mental health community and the medicine community, the oncologic community together. And it takes care of somebody who is really otherwise powerless in our culture.
People ask you, how do you work with cancer patients? That's enough. But how do you work with cancer patients with schizophrenia or bipolar disorder? There's so much suffering. And I really feel that I was meant to do this work. I have 3 little girls, and I would never leave the house if I wasn't leaving to do something meaningful.
We're moving the bar and we're doing the right thing. And when we're done and it's time for us to retire, we can at least look back and say, well, we didn't ignore something that was right in front of our face. One day, we'll look back and we will see that this trial was the beginning of the end of that 30-year chasm.